I think we're recording.
All right.
Keep having thoughts.
Thank you very much for coming. My senior project that I decided to do was to make a modern edition of a quartet that was written in the early 19th century. It was written by an interesting guy, little known but pretty interesting. His name was Edward Defoe. He was actually born in Switzerland and grew up with his uncle from the age of 4 to 16 in Geneva, actually. At the age of 16, he was sent to Paris because his uncle, who was also a musician, saw that he had one talent, sent him to Paris so he could study the violin and piano. And this is where he actually got the job as concertmaster for the Prince of Persia, which began a string of royal appointments, all of which ended in banishment from 3 different countries, which is quite impressive. He didn't live very long, so he lived maybe 50 years. But anyway, his output included a whole lot of, he was mainly known for his theatrical works, lots of songs. He actually had a ballet pantomime, which is interesting. And then he also had a few chamber pieces, which we are playing one of them. And what I did with the piece was I took the original parts, which there was no score remaining, so I took the original parts, fixed the errors that were in it. They were missing notes, wrong pitches, bad chords, and wrong rhythmic errors, and rhythmic errors. Sorry. And so I fixed all that, put it on the score, and printed it up so the performer could play it. And just keep in mind, this piece is a literal translation to a 19th century horn part. So it was written for natural horn, which is a very much lighter instrument. Doesn't take as much endurance to perform on it. So it was written for endurance on a natural horn, not a modern instrument. So keep that in mind when we're performing up here. It's going to be a little taxing on us, which I will actually revise, take quite a few parts out that aren't exactly needed in order to possibly get this published. And now we're going to play this for you, and after that I will entertain questions. Quartet, please join me. doubled it's doubled, not even just by octave, but they are playing unison notes, where two people don't exactly have to be playing at the time. There's actually a lot of that in the fanfare portions of before each theme, which that will, given like two or three measures of rest for each person at any given time, will be a great help for performance. If you didn't notice, everybody was playing basically the whole time in that piece. So giving us a little bit of break would help a lot.
Sure. What level, when you think of a publisher, they want to sort of have some idea of what level student or professional, what level you think this would be suitable for? After you get privileges.
I think it would have to be college student level. I did think about it, yes. It would be college student level at this point, from the techniques that are required for this would be college level.
What is the basic college level?
Well, the range in the first part, it stays, the range in the first part and the range in the fourth part. But in the first part, it stays in the mid to pretty high range. It actually goes up to the high C, which most high school players may think they can play, but really can't. And then in the fourth part, actually, it's the low C in the basic. Yeah, the C in the basic clef, which a lot of high school horn players, at least in this area, can't really read that note, much less play it. Those are my reasons.
Can you talk about some of the 19th century techniques that are demonstrated by the 19th century horn techniques?
Okay. Yes. In the early 19th century and late 18th century, the horns were being written for pairs. Low horn, there was core bass and core alt. Core bass generally specialized in low horn playing rhythmical, arpeggiated rhythms and such, basically outlining the chord that they're playing. And the core alt was 2 octaves above its fundamental, so it's able to, the harmonics are much closer up there, so we're able to play harmonics with the hand horn, which is being performed with at the time. So it's easier for the natural horns to play the closely harmonic notes, 2 octaves up for core alt on natural horn. Now, this piece actually has an interesting rendition of ensemble. It's got the one true core alt part. It would normally be first and third would normally be core alt parts, which would be high and melodic. But in this case, there's one core alt part, which is the first part. The third part is actually a kind of a mix between core alt and core bass. It's got the core bass portions, which is just the rhythmic arpeggiated rhythms in it. A little higher. Well, it's a little higher than the original core bass, but it is kind of in the middle of the range. So it's kind of you got 3 core basses, 1 core alt. Sorry. search in the Library of Congress, and I actually, in English, I used the word quartet. I actually came up with 17-horn quartet. I used the word horn quartet, and general search came back with 17 quartets. So it doesn't seem like a lot, but it was just using the English words. I didn't use like French or Italian. So it can be assumed that there are quite a few more. Now, it won't be in the thousands, but it's may not be prevalent, or it may not be hugely prevalent, but it is. I mean, it's typical. There's quite a few in that time period. Any questions?
This might be a silly question.
That's fine.
I'm just kind of curious as to why do you use the kind of car setup?
Oh, actually, this setup, actually, there's many different setups for a horn quartet. One where the first horn is right here, second horn right here, third horn right here, fourth horn right here. And this, the normal one. We set it like that because the first horn's bell is facing the whole rest of the section. And so everybody can tune the first horn. Now this gets everybody kind of packed in closer together, where during our rehearsal we were kind of having trouble hearing. Like I was having trouble hearing the fourth part, second was having trouble hearing the third. This packs everybody together, gets all the sound in a nice little box, so we can hear each other a lot better. It puts everything together. It's kind of